So you enjoy the cider?
Cider is one of my favorite fall drinks. I don't really do coffees or lattes or things like that. Hot chocolate is my all-time favorite drink, but cider is a strong second.
Like this?
Yeah.
Swiss
but it's gotta
Miss?
have marshmallows in it. There's marshmallows over there, so I can always make it.
Then these big ass marshmallows, that won't fit in this
They
pack.
gotta cover the top. It's a vibe. It's the look that matters.
Okay.
You gotta dust it with the cinnamon.
Oh, so you really just do it for pictures?
No, I drink it.
Oh, okay.
But I do like it to look visually appealing before I drink
Aesthetics.
Yeah.
Everything is aesthetically pleasing, huh?
Yeah.
Aesthetically pleasing. So, you are a teacher, an artist,
Yes.
a mom,
Yes.
an introvert,
Yeah.
extrovert. So what would that be, an ambivert? You introvert and extrovert. Wouldn't that be an ambivert?
I don't know. I straddle the fence. According to my personality profile, I think it says my what is it, MBTI? I'm a ISTJ. So
ISTJ.
yeah. So it's introvert. Oh, I don't remember what the S is. But then the T is like you know what?
Yeah, you got
it.
you got the come on, look that thing up. We got Google at the tip of our fingers.
Let's see. Because I still have the profile page. So I'm a logistician.
Well, what's a logistician? Let's look up logistician. What does that mean?
So ISTJ logistician is a personality type with introverted, observant thinking and judging traits. These people tend to be reserved yet willful with a rational outlook on life. They compose their actions carefully and carry them out with methodical purpose.
Is that you?
I would say so.
I would definitely say so.
I would say so.
Could you read that one more time? It was a piece that stuck out in there that I wanted to go back on.
It says ISTJ is a personality type with the introverted, observant thinking and judging trait.
The judgment, that's what I wanted to go back. So, are you a heavy judger?
I wouldn't say I'm a heavy judger of like I always feel like I have an opinion. You know how like when people say like you're judging something, it always has like a negative connotation. I wouldn't say that I'm always like I have my opinion on this or that, but I am like I do try to see all outcomes of something before I proceed with it. Like,
so you don't really do nothing without having this whole thought process, which probably would then stop you from doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Like I have to know like, okay, if I do A opens up B and C. So if these are my options for B and C, which one makes more sense? And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with C, but C opens up options D, E, and F. And I'd be mapping it out in my mind. And then I get irritated when it don't follow the map that I saw in my mind. So
why would you think that everything you plan out goes according to plan?
It's not that I necessarily want it to go according to plan, but like I feel more prepared and in control if it goes somewhat according to what I was thinking. I can get frazzled really easily. So when I'm like, I thought that this action was going to lead to B and C, but why is there a D over here? Why did it go down this lane? And then I get frazzled because I'm like, I'm not prepared for route D. And then
but
I don't
D probably
like
ain't even that bad. It's probably not. So when you get into those things that take you off course, how do you get back on course, or how do you navigate through the courses?
Lately, I've been trying to just be more aware that I am frazzled. In the past, like I feel like when things were not going to course, I would try to get it back on course to the point where I would like either negate somebody else's experiences or their feelings, or you know, if it's like we're having like a deep conversation or something, like I'm just trying to figure out how we can get back on course, and I'm not fully like conscious of the conversation that I'm having. But now I try to like take a step back and like first make myself aware that I'm not fully invested in whatever moment I'm in, and then try to just invest myself in whatever's going on. But that takes a lot of like work for a person with my personality type. Like I'm very careful about each thing. So I don't know.
Do you think that being that careful has led you to where you want to be, or do you think you may not have gotten as far because of the amount of careful that you've been?
I feel like maybe a mixture of both. Like when I think about my career, I feel like it's gotten me to where I want to be, because there are things that I've done within my career that I'm like, okay, this is something that I've always wanted to do, something I've always wanted to implement. But then when it comes to things like with motherhood, or things with like family or my relationship or things like that, it's probably held me back from being all that I can be, because those type of things, there's never a set path, there's never a set pattern. It's always like, you know, however day 1 or day 2 goes, it's like the butterfly effect. It's going to affect what comes next. And you know, you can't be that controlling of something that is like, I want to say it's fate, but it's like there are some things outside of just human power. And those are part of the things. Like, I can do everything that I can to be the best mom that I can, but ultimately all of my efforts, like how it plays out, the outcome that I see from it might not be what I picture in my mind. Like, I have to understand how to be flexible in the situations where I'm like, man, well, I thought if I did that with, you know, with Kaden, or if I thought if I bought this, I was going to see this, and it don't happen. It might not be happening now. Maybe it'll happen a year from now or something. Like, I'm noticing even now with like my son's like marble toys things. He's had them for like at least 2 or 3 years. And when we first got him, he wasn't all that intrigued by them. But like as of lately, that's all he ever wants to play with. And
it's
he's
the
like,
marbles.
Yeah, and he's like building them by himself. And I'm seeing like his cognitive thinking and functioning like blooming, that I wasn't seeing at first. That I was very paranoid, got on myself a lot. Like, what am I doing wrong in my parenting? Like, why am I not seeing these things in my son? And then now, like, they're there. They're just blooming late. And so, I don't know. I gotta stop being so like strong, high strung.
Masculine.
Is it masculine? I don't think it's masculine.
So do you have a masculine figure that you could then put that on, versus you having to take all that yourself?
What do you mean?
Do you have to be so strong and controlling, or do you have somebody that can help you with that part?
I want to say yes, but I feel like I'm not interpreting the question all the way. Like, okay. I have like me and my partner at the moment, Kyle, like, I have gone to him to lean and depend on him for certain things, but I think like what people consider to be traditional, like more traditional roles, I don't know. I feel like either one of us can like do it. But I also like grew up in a household where there were like, you know, everything kind of in my household was like split down 50-50. So when it came to like things like, you know, taking out the trash,
anybody could do it.
So like, but that's not, our ideologies about those type of things don't quite like align. So sometimes it's like bumping heads over things that I'm like, well, I just see that as a task that anybody can do. But then it might come off as like me trying to be masculine. But I don't see it that way, because I'm like, I've watched my mom take the trash out. Like, I've watched my sisters like take the trash out, or like, you know, do other things. Like, you know, because my dad involved me with a lot of things when I was younger, like, I already know how to change the tires on my car. I already know how to check my oil in my engine to see if it's low. Like, so because I already know those things, and because I was always so like antsy to do them with my dad, I'm still antsy to do them as an adult. It's like I want to participate.
So it's nothing negative. It's just something you don't mind doing because you're a part of that household.
Like, I love putting things together, like furniture or like anything. Like, but that's because my dad has worked maintenance all his life. So we learned how to use the tools. We learned how to, you know, just kind of figure out how this is supposed to go together. So like when packages come in or anything like that, like I'm always the first one, like, let me do it. Let me put it together. Okay. Not that I want to overstep a boundary, but just like, it's fun to me.
Do you think you ever overstep boundaries?
Of course.
And yes, how do you come back from that? So then this would go into that masculine.
Yeah.
If you overstepping the boundaries and you know that there's clear boundaries, why do you still overstep?
I feel like I have found out that I overstep the boundaries now, like post it actually happening. So like there may have been times where I always was in like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this mode, and just never knew that it was causing like rifts, if that makes sense. And then to hear it back later, I will start to feel like it's a attack on my personality, instead of hearing what the actual problem is. Like, the problem is, like not being able to, I guess, show masculinity in the way that I think. Like, instead of like hearing what the other person has an issue with, I just hear what I feel like I'm being attacked. You know what I mean?
And in reality, all it is
not.
Is just saying, hey, you didn't do this right. And you're like,
yeah, like
little chihuahuas.
So, but yeah.
Do you think you can do better? Are you working to do better with that part? Or is that just where you see, I'm just here and that just is what it is?
No, I think I can do better. I think everybody has to be open to character development and to change.
Oh, it's so many people that's not, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's so many people that's been in the same oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think it's important to, like, at some point you have to not think so highly of yourself, like that everything is beneath you. You know what I mean? And that sounds bad. Like, I don't want to say like that's the type of character that I like move through life with, but you do have to take yourself out of your own perspective sometimes and see it from another person's side. Otherwise, like, how do you build like meaningful relationships with anybody?
But they got people that, I'm sure you know somebody, because I know a lot of people that's been in the exact same situation that I met them in. Mm-hmm. They just getting older. Mm-hmm. The situation ain't changed, but they haven't changed. Life is going, but they haven't changed. So it's like they still in the same place you met them mentally. Yeah. And you see how other people just like blossom, and you're like, what? Why? We all can do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I like that one from you. Thank you for those answers.
Yeah.
So now let's get into some tablet talk. So if you had to invite one person on your show, if you had a show, who would you invite? And it's only one person. And it could be anybody. It could be a celebrity. It could be a bum. It could be anybody.
I think I would invite like some musical artist. Like,
you gotta pick one.
I don't want to say like cliche. Maybe like Kendrick Lamar or somebody, like J. Cole or something. Because I just be wanting to know, like, I feel like they're so in tune with them, like who they are, that like they go against like mainstream media. And so to understand like what have they been through in life to be that secure, to go against a whole like industry.
But what would prevent you from going against it when you know that even they did that to the Lord? The Lord got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
You think you ain't gonna get yours?
Right.
I'm just saying, like, everybody gonna get it.
Yeah.
So if you know that everybody gonna get it, what prevents you from just being who you are? If you know you gonna get your ass kicked anyways,
right,
why not just be who you are? Because you know they're gonna say something.
Right.
I mean, that's how I live, and I know a lot of times it gets me into things that I could have avoided because I chose to do it the way I wanted to do it versus the way that society says I should do it. I say things to this day that's gonna get me in trouble, and I'm gonna continue. It's just things that I do and say that has backlash, but it's like, so, and thank you, I get you. I don't always like it. Yeah. And it don't always feel good, but if I'm going to be who I am, I got to be able to be okay with what comes with being who I am.
Right.
So now you got to pick only one, though. Which one of the two?
That's a hard pick. I feel like I've opened up a discussion.
The conversational thread. Conversational thread.
Let's go with J. Cole.
Is there a reason specifically Cole versus Kendrick?
No.
Okay.
I like them equally.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then we're going to go to the next one. Being spontaneous. What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
There's nothing that I can come up with that I feel like is just like, I want to do this, let's go and do this. Honestly, it might just be my whole like lifestyle of shopping. That's the most spontaneous thing. I am so random. A thought pops up into my mind, oh, I want this. And I'll just go and get it. And it'll sit there.
What's one of the biggest items that you just let sit there?
As of lately, my camera. I bought a digital camera, and that cost me over $1,000.
Where is it at?
It's sitting on my my dresser.
Is it
next to
dusty?
my bed? No, I use it.
Okay, so it's been used.
Yeah,
but
been used.
Just sitting there.
But it's not used for how I intended to use it when I bought it.
Is that because of your personality that doesn't allow you to use it the way you wanted to, or is it?
I think it's because so here, what motivated me to get the camera, right? I was on YouTube, and somehow in the algorithm, a YouTube short came up from this guy that does like sports photography, like super dope, like senior portraits for different like schools and whatnot. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I could do that. And went down the rabbit hole.
So you went down the rabbit hole on YouTube, and you know that don't stop.
Yeah.
YouTube rabbit holes go deep.
Yeah.
Like you will not come out.
Right.
Once you drop, you're done. So that's what got you.
Yeah. But I have intentions on using it, because what really got me was that I used to do photography back when I was in high school. Not like I'm out here charging people for pictures and whatnot, but it was like a personal interest of mine, just like a hobby that I like doing. And then I got away from it, and then I was in a photography realm in college. I was part of like this modeling group in college.
Oh, you was a model too?
That makes it sound much more like
runway model.
There was this group on campus. It was called Trends of Essence, and we put on like fashion shows, and we did like fashion type photography or things like that. It was just for I feel like it was a group more for students who were majoring in fashion or majoring in marketing or things like that, and our common interests just kind of aligned, and which I wasn't majoring in any of those things, but I don't know, I liked the group, and so it was cool to see photographers work and to go into the film, the studios, and to change the backgrounds and change the lighting and whatnot. In my own way, I was still involved with photography, even though I wasn't the photographer. And so then I think when I was going through the YouTube shorts, I was like, this is possible. I can do this. You know how things on social media always make it seem like they're easier than they are?
That's why my customers be messing their houses up, flooding them houses, because they're I seen it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Get off of YouTube.
I got the camera and I was like, okay, 1 check mark. And then I was like, dang, but there's all these lights and all these umbrellas, and I'm the type where I feel like I can't proceed until I have all the equipment that I need to get the shot I'm looking for, you know?
I've been told just use what you got, and I never have enough. No matter what I bought, it's you bought everything you needed. It's not enough. I need one more.
Yeah.
I need a softbox. Just give me another softbox.
Yeah.
It's always one more thing. You're never satisfied.
So I need to take a class or something just on what
Matter of fact,
functions on my camera.
My boy, J. Alex, you heard that, huh? I'm sending her to you. She got you. She got you. So I'm gonna hook you up with my guy.
Okay.
And he fire. He gonna get you right, and he gonna make sure you know everything you need to know, whether it's on the computer or behind the camera.
Okay.
He gonna get you right. So Jay, we coming for you. I got you somebody. Since you say J. Cole or Kendrick, are either one of them a song that you've been listening to back to back to back to back, repeat?
No. I'm very late to this, but somehow I got onto a TikTok, and one of the songs, J. Cole recently dropped a song called Port Antonio, and I think I don't know how long it's been since he dropped it, but I'm late to the party, right, of listening to the song. And then when I was listening to that one, I saw an ad for a song that Kendrick had dropped previously called Watch the Party Die. So those two songs, while they may be old, have just been on repeat in my mind, because I've been dissecting them and deciphering them.
Have you learned anything since you've been cutting them up?
What you mean?
What have you got out of them since you've been cutting them up? Is there anything interesting? You said you've been dissecting them.
Yeah.
When we dissect, we do it for a reason.
Right.
We open things up to see the inside.
So what's crazy is I listen to gospel rap, and there's an artist called Lecrae who he's heavy in my rotation of hip hop, like gospel artist that I listen to, and he had a song that was a response to Kendrick's "Watch the Party Die." But I didn't know that that's what the response was to. Like, it was just in my, like, Apple Music will generate like songs based on the last thing that you listen to, and so it came up and I was like, oh, you know, I like the song, like this song is dope. And then when I heard the Kendrick song and I saw the recommended videos next on YouTube, and I was like, I've heard this song from Lecrae like multiple times. So when I would listen to Kendrick's, and then I would listen to Lecrae's, and I would try to look at the juxtaposition behind what they were saying. And so sometimes I feel like when I listen to Kendrick's music, I can miss the message sometimes, because like you really do have to sit and think about what it is he's trying to like really get across. Some people, when they take it just at like face value, can either blow things out of proportion or not really like relay the meaning of what he was trying to say. And I feel like in the "Watch the Party Die" like song that he released, you know, he's talking about the industry and he's talking about the changes that he wants to see made to the industry, but he's also saying like, well, it's just some people that's just you just gotta let them go. It's just gonna have to be left behind. But he does it in a way that I feel like the average listener would be like, it sounds so violent. It sounds so just like, but it's also like, you gotta listen to, like, he's trying to say, let's make a world that's like filled with better people. Like, sometimes violence is the way when you gotta make things better, but like I don't really think he's out here saying like just murder, you know what I mean?
It's like spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah, like. And so then Lecrae's message was more about like, at the end of his song, he talks about how Jesus didn't watch the party die. Like, he didn't let people self-sabotage. He died for the party. So like he gave up himself so that other people could have salvation and other people could be brought closer to God. And so sometimes you have to be the one to be sacrificial. And I feel like, to a certain extent, I feel like Kendrick and J. Cole are sacrificial in the industry, because they're not just going along with what everybody else is doing. Like, they're opening themselves up to other people's criticisms, whether they like it or not, like, or whether they like care to like fully take it in or not. They're at least open to, I know I'm gonna get criticized for this, but I'm still going to drop it anyway because people need to hear it. Like, so I don't know. Like
interviews, when people be anxious and they think they don't have nothing to talk about, and then they have a lot to say, like that. Okay. So now let's say, with you being a teacher, what inspires you to keep growing in that field?
I think it all goes back to like the reason why I wanted to be a teacher in the first place. Like, watching how my friends in high school experienced school, and then like understanding how I experienced school, and then seeing how kids now in this like younger generation experience school. I'm like, there are still common threads of things that happen back then that are still happening now, that like kids still need like a support system. Like, I love my content, right? I teach chemistry. It's great. I love it. It's fun. But there's so much more that a teacher is like there for outside of just teaching their content. Like, giving kids a safe space, giving kids like role models, like adults who can, I don't know, exhibit certain qualities that they might not be seeing elsewhere, is important to me. I don't know. I just feel like there are a lot of things that like when you reach a certain level, like, so I teach high school. So when you jump from middle school to high school, there are so many things that we're just like, you should just know how to do that. Like, why don't you know how to do that? And it's kind of like, that instantaneous like jump in maturity that everybody expects is not there when you're a freshman in high school. No. Like, it's just not there. But the patience sometimes of teachers is not there, because the education industry as of lately, it's a lot going on.
So is it, do you feel that it's worse now than it was, or do you feel like it's just,
so that's an interesting question, because back in the past I wasn't experiencing it from a teacher's perspective. I was experiencing it from a student perspective. So, you know, I only care about like what I've got going on, my activities that I want to be in, how are my classes doing, how are you grading my papers. Like I wasn't really thinking about like what experience is my teacher having in this environment. Whereas now I can only see it that way. Like, man, my teachers probably had it rougher than I than I thought. Like, so yeah, I don't know if I can speak to whether I think it's like worse now versus then. And there are some things where I'm just like, I feel like we didn't act that way at school, or like we didn't do this or we didn't do that. But that's like, what if we did and I just didn't see it? Because like my friend group didn't act that way, or my, you know what I mean?
The people behind you did. You just didn't see it because you was in front of them.
Right. I was just, so I don't know. If I'm thinking just the span of my teaching career, because I've been teaching for about 9 years, have there been changes? Yes. Are there probably things that I can point back to that caused those changes, or like, made the effect larger? Also, yes. So
do you think with the way kids are now, do you like teaching now?
I do still like teaching. I think the thing about teaching is you have to be willing to evolve. Like every year you get a new wave of kids, every class period you get a new wave of kids, and sometimes you have to maneuver with certain groups differently because just the way that those groups gel together, the personalities that you have, like you have to be willing to be like flexible, I guess. And for a person who is a planner, sometimes that can be like scary because you be like, I got my lesson ready, I know what I'm doing this day, but it's also like I have to be willing to like not move on in something. Just because I have my timeline doesn't mean that they're going to line up to my timeline. So there are certain things about my personality that I feel like when it comes to teaching, they don't blend, but I have to like work it out the best I can for the greater good of like my students. So I would say for how the kids are now, I guess I try to give them grace as much as I can give them grace. Like I still want them to take accountability for their actions. I still want them to understand what does it mean to be responsible? How is what I'm doing right now going to show itself out in the real world? Like what are my transferable skills that I'm taking? Because every kid's not going to take chemistry and retain chemistry to use it in the way that we're teaching our curriculum. Some of them will, because some of them will want to go into science-based jobs. We do try to embed in a lot in our curriculum that are like, okay, here is the chemistry that you are using every day. Here's how it shows itself. But more than anything, there are transferable skills that I can teach you about, like character development, things like that you can use across the board. And I have to remember that those are the things that like take the most patience.
It's developing characters.
So, I don't know, sometimes I'm willing to give up the extra 5 minutes of content so that I can develop character for a kid in this certain situation, like getting them to buckle down and like really see like, okay, what went wrong in this scenario, or what could I have done better, or what went really well, and like let's praise like what went well so that, they have the stamina to want to keep doing it. I mean, right. If you're always just getting like beat down on constantly, just like the negatives, let me point out all the negatives, like, and you don't have anybody reinforcing the positives, that can do a lot to your like mental,
Yeah.
So
it's like you don't do nothing right, so then
right.
you start feeling that way, right. And then you carry around that baggage.
Right. So I've got students who, they know they test me to my limits every day. They know that. But also on the days where I'm like, this was a good day for you, or that was a good action for you, like I have to make a more conscious effort to point those things out. So
I was just being, no, you answered, you good, you good. I just was being told something similar like that, and I didn't realize that I needed to do that because I wasn't taught to do that. So it's like I didn't even think that was a thing. Like, oh, this guy did something, like tell him he did good, and it's like I didn't even think to, like, you did it. Yeah. Great job. You needed to do it, like, but then it's like you do understand that people when somebody do say you did a good job, you feel better, and that may have been all you needed for the day. So that like gave you that stamina to continue doing it. So I understand, and I'm learning that as well. Being in a teaching position, I'm learning how to be a better teacher because I feel like I suck. Not because I can't relay the message, but it's the way I relay the message. And it's always too harsh, or it's not soft enough, or I didn't cater to somebody's needs well enough. I just kind of, that phone black. It ain't, it's just the phone black. Leave it alone. It's like, it's no in between. It's just, I usually just, it's straight.
Yeah.
And I'm working on it. But, you know,
Yeah.
I have my days. I have some days are better than others. I'm sure somebody will see this and they'll agree. So, how do you balance being a teacher? That means you get up early. Generally, you come home, you got papers, you have your family, household. How do you balance work and home?
Man, for a long time, I had no work-life balance. For a long time. I guess I've been teaching for 9 years. I think for a solid 7, I had no work-life balance. But that was because I started a STEP team at my school because I wanted to give our minority students like more extracurricular activities that aligned with things.
So you
Culturally.
started it.
Yes. So we had a club already, like an extracurricular activity at the school called African Diaspora, where STEP was kind of like an activity that they did, but it wasn't really its own entity. It was just kind of like they enjoyed participating in STEP type dance. But for me, when I was in high school, I was on a STEP team and we participated in competitions and things. So like that was our sole purpose for meeting. We meet to practice, we meet to perform, we meet to go this or do that. So when I started teaching, that was something that I wanted to like, I had such meaningful experiences when I was a student doing that. So I wanted to bring those same experiences to other students. And so in doing that, I found that I'm the only one who can do this here where I work. The only one who can treat that like realm of STEP with the like I guess like appreciation for what it really is, instead of just taking it out as this like it's a popular thing to do now because STEP has grown and like more people know about STEP. You see it on shows or you see it in different facets, but like instead of removing it from what it is culturally, I felt like it was important to get the students to understand like, no, here's the background behind STEP. Here is where it originated. Here is why it's important to the, Black community. Here is how, you see it outside of the realm of high school, because it is in its own way kind of like a niche type of thing. So like getting them to understand like you can't do everything that you see on social media. You cannot go out in the world doing that just because you're like, oh, I'm on a STEP team. No, baby, you are not.
No, it's different. There
are levels to it. And I mean, it's probably a topic of debate in certain communities about whether or not STEP should be like as utilized as it is. But I don't know. I felt like for the kids to see something that was so like unquestionably Black, and to know that like I can participate in this, and I can have something in my school community that I feel like is me, where I'm represented and I can just be unapologetically like me, was a very important like thing. So after I like started it, and it went great the first year, and it went even better the second year, and then the third, and then it just went on, and I was like, okay, I get up, I work a full 8-hour day, I take a break for an hour, I have practices from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, and I'm doing that back to back to back. We're performing at the football games, we're performing at the basketball games, okay, we're doing that season in, season out. Our season is running from June because we need to practice for, to start football season. We're ending in March. It's not a lot of off time, and I'm the sole person like doing it. And then I had my son, And then it was like, okay, now I'm bringing my son to practice. Now I'm like, and so my whole world kind of revolved around, okay, what can I do in my classroom to help benefit those kids? What can I do, to keep the STEP team going to benefit those kids? And so it always felt like I wasn't reserving enough time for myself, and I burned out. And so even in this past year, we tried implementing another ECA that is like majorette dance. And when it comes to majorette, I have no personal experience with it. I wasn't a majorette in college. I don't know enough about the history of majorette to do it and not give it the justice that it needs, So we tried out for a year, and I was like, whew. And that really burned me out, because now I have STEP, and I have majorette, and I have job, and I have son, and I have games that I'm now traveling. I'm driving the bus, getting these kids to the games.
You driving a bus?
Yeah, I'm like,
you're a bus driver too. But we forgot to put that in there. She had bus driver, CDL, big driver.
But no, just little tiny buses. Like, we get trained on campus, but it was overwhelming to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna survive if I don't change something. And then when a person burns out, they just burn out.
It is,
and I had to just kind of like let it go. And so now I have, I go to work, and then I try to come home and just focus on my son, because he's getting to the age where like he's going to want to do activities, and he's going to want to be involved in these things. And like, if what he wants to be involved in conflicts with what I'm doing at the school, but I'm the sole person who can run this group, then it makes me feel like, dang, I'm putting somebody over my son. And then I get to the overthinking, and then so I would say now the only way that I have balance is that when I walk out the building, work is at work.
You leave work where
I just leave it there. So I'm hoping eventually I'll have a healthier way of maneuvering that, so that those kids, what I intended to do when I started teaching, I can still do it, but it's got to be a healthier balance so that I don't burn out again.
Are you planning on retiring with teaching, or do you want to find something else? Is this just teaching? Is it? Do you plan on starting a school? Do you want to do more for the Black kids? Is this your end goal right here where you are, or do you have something bigger for where you are? I mean, for what's to come.
I've always just wanted to be a teacher. So like, I've always seen myself like retiring from teaching, but I don't know. People keep putting the bug in my ear that I should like go into administration, and I'm just like, I don't know where y'all see. Yeah, I know.
Mean.
But that's not like, administrators shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's some
shouldn't be
that I'm gonna have to do before I step into
shouldn't be but
roles. Like, I don't know, but I've entertained the thought, but I think right now I'm pretty content with my teaching.
So you're enjoying everything, and it's going the way you like it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, because not a lot of people can actually say they're enjoying their life for what they're doing.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do for the most part. I ain't got no complaints. I don't mind getting up and going. I don't mind. I just go, because it's not like it's a big deal. I don't mind what I do. I enjoy being able to help the masses all the time. So
yeah,
I'm with it. How has your career influenced your leadership? So
like my leadership outside of work?
your leadership. So now you're a teacher.
Yes.
You got to do, your leadership has to be different than, let's say, you can't just go in there from the same way you teach at home to the same to teaching that at school. How did being a teacher change your leadership in and outside by doing what you're doing?
So I think if I'm thinking of in terms of like within my workplace, like being in the constant state of evaluation, like maybe it's that judging side of me that is like, what could I have done better? What didn't go with her? Why did that kid like have that episode right then and there? What could I have changed about that? Like, I'm constantly in this like mental state of like improving, or at least trying to be conscious about what is happening in the day instead of just living the day to day. I think that has impacted like my teaching style over the course of the 9 years. Like, I've learned to be more easygoing with my students. I feel like I've always been easygoing because I'm just like, I'm younger. So, you know, the teaching practices that were being taught when I was going through college are probably different from some of the like older practices, and they're probably different now. You know, I've been out of college for 9 years now, so there's probably other things about like teacher development preparation. But I don't know, my leadership has changed. I've tried taking like more leadership roles within my school so that, you know, my voice can have more impact, I guess. When I think about my leadership outside of work, how teaching may have affected that, it kind of comes back to like thinking about motherhood. Like, there are so many things where I'm like, okay, I have patience. I can do this. Like, if I can have patience for these kids at work, I can have patience for home. But sometimes it's just like home.
You don't get paid for home. Give me that belt.
Like,
I don't get paid for home.
But like, and so, you know, my nephew lived with me for a few years, and like, I noticed a complete different personality for me in terms of like raising him versus like when he wasn't here. Like, I would find like, man, why am I just so like on him all the time? It's just like, I'm always like, why are you not doing this? Like, what's going on? Like, especially when it came to schoolwork, because I was a teacher. Like, I feel like kids whose parents are teachers probably get it worse than the kids whose parents are not, because we're just like, why wouldn't you ask for help? Like, I'm a teacher, like, I can help you. Or like, why are you not doing this? Like, you're embarrassing me, you're making me look bad. Like, these people know I'm a teacher, blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't know. I think I look back on it and I'm like, I did not have to be that dang like angry all the time. Like,
That's a good thing you said. That's actually pretty dope that you said that you look back and didn't have to be angry like that all the time. Same situation. I didn't realize the dynamics of the anger that I had. I didn't even know I was angry. You couldn't have convinced me I was angry. I did not realize I was really that angry. It took some time. It took my dad to die to really go through all kinds of different steps and motions to really understand that I did have a lot of things that was going on. I was doing things too that was really stemming from like being depressed. You don't even think like you don't really know that you're going into these things. That's why you have to have a good support group to tell you, hey, you ain't doing well. Yeah. And you got to have people that actually tell you you're not doing well, because all that sugarcoating and all that don't always help to get the message across that you sitting in your house all day and ain't coming out, or this person doing this. Like, people die from just sitting here. Like, they say sitting still is like smoking cigarettes. It's that bad, just sitting still. The lack of motion, they say that's just like smoking cigarettes. Hell, at that point, you might as well get a pack. Like, but I really didn't realize that mental health is real.
yeah,
But if you don't seek help,
right,
you will never help your mental health ever. And that's the biggest part, is that there's so much information, so many people willing to help, and free information, and people won't take the time. Another word you used was accountability. Not enough people take the accountability to even change, or to take the criticism that they're not doing. Everybody want to be, it's me, I'm not, oh, pity me. Man, shut your ass up.
Yeah.
It's not that serious. You just ain't doing well. And it's okay for me to tell you that you're not doing well.
Yeah.
In your career, have you ever encountered a situation where your identity impacted your experience at work? And if it did, how did you navigate through that?
There was a time, and this was back when we had a different superintendent, and I loved her. She was so cool. We didn't have enough minority staff. Like, I'm gonna just lay it out there. Like, it wasn't enough Black and brown teachers in our district. And so she started like a committee, and she laid it flat out for us. The committee was all minorities, and she is a white woman. And she was just like, this is something that we have not done well, and we want to fix it. And so I was appreciative of her just like being honest, like not, BSing around the fact of like, here is why I've brought you together. We need help with our recruitment efforts. We need help for people to understand that our population of students need teachers who look like them. And so I would say that was probably like one of the experiences in my career where I was like, oh, I'm here because I'm Black. And I didn't feel like I was just selected to like represent all the Black people in the world because I'm one of the few Black people like working here. You know what I mean? Okay. It was more so of just like, she wanted to understand why our district wasn't on people's minds when they entered the education field. Like, why were people not considering coming to our district from the minority perspective? And so we were able to have like, just open conversations about like, what is the overall, like, what do people think when they think about the area where our school is from? And so I was like, I don't know. I think people will have like mixed opinions about it because sometimes you can feel like, well, I can't speak for an entire race of people or population of people, but to an extent, we do have Black kids that go here. We do have kids who want to see teachers that look like them, who want to see teachers who understand their culture, like, and who are not afraid to be an embodiment of who they are, but in the professional workplace. Like, and that's such an important thing. And so for a while, like, when I had got there, it was almost culture shock for me. I had never been in a place that had so few, like, minorities. And it was more in the staff. Our student body was, mixed up. But in the staff, and when you have a small selection of staff, you get bombarded with the kids who want to be around somebody that looks like them, understands
because
them.
Because you're the only one, so you are that voice. Yeah,
and before I had got there, there were maybe like 2 or 3 other minority teachers who had been there for like 10 years before I had got there. And I was like, I just don't know how y'all did it. And then now, since then, within the 9 years that I've been there, like, it's grown a lot. I will say I can look around our staff and I can see how intentional our district has been about bringing in more staff who are minorities. And so I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, you have a student body that's becoming increasingly more diverse. The staff should reflect that. Like, and then also, like, kids need to know, like, you can go into this field. You see yourself. That's what I was getting ready to say. So you see the possibility of it. Like, when I was in high school, we read this book called The Pact. It was about a group of doctors, like Black doctors. And we went and, like, we heard them speak. And for a lot of us, Black doctors out there, every time I go to the doctor office, it's a white old man, or it's a white old woman. Like, and so you just don't see yourself when you're in those places. And that was the first time that my eye was opened, that like,
you don't even feel like you can make it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't feel that way until you see somebody that's like, he was a regular guy. I met him and he used to wear dirty shoes just like me, and he made it. And he's telling me I can make it. He's being that voice.
And doing it in a way where they are not washing down who they are is a very important thing, at least to me. Like, and that probably gets into like a deeper discussion, but like, there are times where Black people, like, we'll talk about, like, we code switch when we get into a professional setting, or like we feel like, we have to present ourselves a certain way to not be scrutinized as much as others. But like, when you're in front of your kids, like, you want them to know that, like,
be yourself.
I have this personality. Yeah, I do listen to this song. Like, yes, I do wear weave. Yes, I do.
You wear weave?
Yes.
No, you don't.
What?
You're lying.
Like, I do like Jordans. Yes, I do come to work in my J's. Like, yeah, it's casual Friday and this is my casual outfit. Like, it's so, allowing them to see that, like, you don't have to erase everything about your identity to be in a space like this, I think is really important for this generation.
It's hard though.
It is hard.
It's hard. Even as an adult, it's hard because when you really ain't, when you the minority, if you raise your voice or if you don't speak in the right tone, you're already deemed angry.
Right. Yeah.
How many times do you look around and you say something to somebody and it's just you, and they already, everybody's willing to gang up on you now because all you did, and it's like, I wasn't even angry. It's just, my family talk loud. Like, if you listen to everybody, go to a black party, you go, everybody, it's just, it's in our nature to we're just loud.
Yeah.
But that don't make us no different.
I've had times where I have battled with that, like in a meeting or in a setting where I'm like, if I say this in this way, what I'm trying to get across will not reach the ear.
It's just gonna make them upset.
Yeah, and I have been visibly, you can tell that I'm frustrated. Like, I've even had people ask me, like, are you okay? And I'm like, it's because I'm trying to find the most tactful way or like sensible way for you to understand what it is that I'm trying to say without hearing all the passion that's in my voice. Sometimes it's just passion. Like,
and it don't be mad.
Yeah,
it just be that you care.
Yeah.
And because you care, it's displayed different.
Yeah.
So they take it as aggression.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I was just saying, come give me a hug. Like, they take everything. And it's just because of the culture difference.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I don't know, my coworkers, and my experience is only my experience, you know? Like, every school is different, every district is different, but like, my coworkers have done a great job of like reinforcing that it's okay to like not be so wound up, like to just be myself, which is so interesting to me because like when other people will bring up like experiences that they've had in certain districts or like, you know, so I say I've been teaching for 9 years, but like when I think about some of my other coworkers, they've been teaching for 20 plus years. Like my little 9 years is like a drop in the bucket to some of the other teachers in the building. You know what I mean? Like some of the things that they've been through, like, I think because being in such a large school, we try to make like relationships the best that we can, especially within like our contents. I don't know. I feel like I really like my district. I really like my school. I feel supported in my school. There are times where I'm like I said, I'm nervous to say what I want to say passionately, like I want to say it, because I've, you know, it's been ingrained in me that these are the stereotypes that people might believe about.
But it don't even be stereotypes. It be real.
Yeah.
Because it do be that.
Yeah.
And they do think that way. And it's not all of them.
Right.
So I'm not saying that all of them think that way. But a vast majority feel, if your voice moves, if you look a certain way, if your eyebrows go up or one, you know, that, then next thing you know, it's like, then
and
you
I would
being
say,
talked about.
like, our staff is large, very large. I haven't even talked to everybody on my staff in a single year. Like, there's just so many people. Like, when you think about how big our school really is, so like, you have to find your community in our building. Do you know what I mean? And once you find your community, it's kind of like you build those relationships so you feel supported because you found that group that you have decided to be your community. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. And then you got to be willing to like put yourself out there to meet other people, which if you know anything about me, that's not
what you say? You need to be. People need to do what?
So, you gotta put yourself out there.
To do what? To receive anything.
Yeah.
You have to be out. If you want anything, you have to be out. There's nothing you gonna get staying inside. Even a hermit crab come out to do stuff.
Yeah.
Hermit crab live in their shell, but they come out when they need to eat and then when they moving around.
Yeah.
So even the wildlife tell you can't stay in the house and get nothing accomplished.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest adversities being a black female in the field?
Well, like I said, or like I mentioned before, like getting past the concept of like, you know, I have to present myself this way. because this is what, you know, society deems as acceptable, or this is what like the professional world deems as acceptable. Like when I first started teaching for a while, my hair had to be straight. I had to dress a certain way, like because I didn't want to be seen as like unprofessional. But then I was like, I think I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I just need to present myself in the way that like I truly see myself as. So like, and I probably was like, I felt more of a push like once I had started the STEP team of like, because those kids got to see me in my natural element, they wanted to see me like that throughout the day too. It was like they were getting two different people. They get somebody.
So you was confusing them.
Yeah, like, so, you know, eventually I did just start wearing my natural hair. And then my kids felt more comfortable wearing their natural hair. Like, you know, eventually I did kind of let the high heels go a little bit. Like, the kitten heels go away. My gym shoes come out, like, because I feel more comfortable in my gym shoes and my skinny jeans and my socks, you know what I mean? Like, so those like small little things, I feel like that was probably an adversity for me when I first started, of just putting myself in a box. No administrator told me I had to dress that way, act that way. No staff member, but like, you just naturally learn it, I guess, or you naturally like take in those things from society.
You've been domesticated.
Yeah. So like I had to let go to give myself a little more freedom. And once I found that freedom, I feel like it really did change like how things even went like in my classroom. Like I felt more calm, more comfortable, like more, I was able to have like conversations with my kids who knew about Jordans or who knew about Nikes, like, and we would talk about shoes, and that was just a way for me to connect with other kids that like they probably never would have known it had they never saw me in it. Like I remember coming to work one day, it was casual Friday, and me and a student had on the exact same pair of shoes, and he's like, I've never seen a teacher wear shoes like that before. Like, it opened up, and I mean, this kid never spoke in class. And I was like, oh, okay.
But y'all had a comment that
right.
was common.
Yeah. So as far as other adversities, I don't know. When it comes to like leadership roles, like I said, I can only speak for like my experience, but the things that I've wanted to do, my school has supported me to do it. Like I haven't had really like a lot of pushback from my school for the things I wanted to do. So like when I wanted to become so I'm a CT leader for the content that I teach. So I have this small group of teachers. We all teach the same content, but I'm kind of like their like leader of the group, which, you know, take that with a grain of salt, because like
they listen to you?
Yeah, but I mean, but it's not meant to have that hierarchy like I'm up here and you're below. Like we really are on level playing field. But
even in a household, you don't have to stay, hey, I'm the man or I'm the woman. It's like when you know. So even if they know you are who you are, that's okay for them to know. And we all know that we're supportive of each other. But like you say, if you're the leader, it's okay to be the leader.
Yeah.
It's not enough people that is, I'm good at being a leader. You know, to even say that about themselves, a lot of people, I want to be too humble that they leave their self out.
Yeah.
It's like, don't leave yourself out, especially when you know that you are who you are.
Right.
It's like, that's, yeah.
Yeah. When the position opened up to be CT lead, like, I don't know what it was that year. I was just really passionate. I was just really passionate about, like, I have, like, ideas that I want to see happen for our, like, CT group. And, I don't know, they supported me to take over that role. And so, like, I took over it, and I've just kept doing it since. And so I feel like I haven't had the experience where I felt like I was pushed out of a position because I was Black. Like, if anything,
it helped you
pushed into position
because they realized the lack of it, and then you were there, which actually helped, and you were younger.
Yes. And with that, there's also like, I'm qualified. I'm not just a Black person who can fill the role. Like, I also bring my own qualifications and experiences and expertise where I am good at the role. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, to an extent, I feel like it'll be very controversial if I say it. Like, yes, we need minorities in certain roles, but I need you to do your job well.
Come on now, come on,
Like,
man.
do it well.
Yes, that's a problem. That's
like,
a problem. That's a
so-
problem right there. We get in the roles and don't perform.
Yeah.
We say we want it, and then the execution is.
Yeah. So, and I understand, like, you know, people when they say, like, I could do it well if I could get into the role, and that they have legitimate, like, barriers. I get that. But it's just not my experience, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to downplay anybody else's experience, where those are real things. They are facing real challenges. They want to, you know, have this pay increase. They want to get into this position. They want to get into this, like, leadership role. And there is something that is blocking them.
What do you think it is that generally blocks us as blacks?
Outside of, like, systemic things, my mind only brings, like, systemic things.
Mindset
yeah.
is one of the biggest things. I would definitely say mindset is one of the biggest things that hold us back. So many of us don't even take the time to grow. Like we was talking about earlier. There's so many, I know people that will not take the time to grow and have everything. They'll scroll past something that'll teach you just to watch something entertaining. Like, man, you skipped 5 seconds of learning to go to 20 minutes of foolishness.
Yeah.
A lot of us, our mindset ain't developed enough to continue, and then it's like, well, this wasn't put in our face. Well, now everything is in your face. You scroll past it.
Right.
So how would you help change the new mindsets that you're developing to be better now? How do you go about that?
Like, how do I change the minds of new educators? Or
no, not of educators, of your children, to actually think outside of the box and not where they are. Some people haven't been past Indy, or some people hasn't been past Chicago. So wherever they were, that's just where they were.
Right.
How do you get them to think outside of just where they are currently?
I think, like, so when I think about the students who have been on my step team before, it was always just having those, like, we're gonna have the heart-to-heart conversation. Like, we're just gonna have the honest conversation of, like, accountability. I have to take accountability. Like, when it came down to, like, maybe there was beef between students on the team, and they're, like, you know, bringing that into the practice environment, either y'all gonna figure it out or y'all both gotta go. Like,
you make my job hard, you gotta go.
And it's that accountability, and, like, having to mediate those situations and, like, get them to understand, like, there is something that you need to apologize for, but there is also something that you need to apologize for. And it's not just I'm choosing one person over the other, but, like, getting them to understand that as an adult, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to step outside of what you're feeling. Like, and I told you at the beginning, I struggle with that, but, like, you have to become consciously aware that there are other people in the world who have a reason for feeling the way that they're feeling. So I'm very conscious with my kids about those things. Like, you have to develop. When it came to, like, so for my step team, you had to maintain your grades in class to be an active member of the step team. I don't care what these other teams are doing around the school. I don't care what athletics allows to happen. I don't care if you can have a D in one class or you can do this in one class. I said you have to have a C+ or higher across the board. A C- is not a C+. Miss G, you being too hard. Like, I told you a C+ or higher. I really don't even want to see the C's. Like, if what's not clicking, what are you not getting? Like, I'm trying to get you to hold yourself. I want you to be a model student in and outside of this practice environment. When I walk into the classroom, I don't want your teacher pulling me off to the side saying you've been doing this or that. I don't want to get emails that you've been doing this or that. Like, when a person sees you wearing our clothes, I want them to know, oh, they be on their stuff. They coach be on them, but, like, that's a good kid. Or, like, they have changed their ways. I saw her when she was a freshman. She's not the same way as a junior now. Like, she's made improvements. So getting them to understand that, like, it's more than just dance. It's more than just step. Like you have to maintain this idea that I can be a better person than I was before. And they know I didn't play about it, because at one point we had like 22 kids on the team, and I told them, when we do grade checks, if you don't have the C+ or higher, you're not getting on the floor. I don't care how long you've been practicing. I don't care that your grandparents are coming. I don't care. You knew they were coming and that you didn't have that C+. What happened at that game? 4 of them got on the floor. 4 of y'all are going to do this routine that's meant for 22 people the 4 of y'all, and the rest of y'all, guess what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna line up along the court and watch them do the routine, missing you in your essential role, because you need to take accountability that like your team is hurt when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. The same way that like when you're in the classroom and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you don't want to give all of your effort, you're putting the blame back on, well, this person did this or my teacher did this. Like, no, something resulted from like you and where you are.
Yeah, you have a part in this.
Right.
It's not everybody else's fault, and accountability is
That's the mindset part that I had to change in them. It's the what is my role in this? They don't have it. They do not have it. But like, they need teachers who are willing to be patient while they sharpen that skill.
Okay, that makes sense.
And sometimes it's really hard for us to be patient.
I don't really have that patience. I'm learning it, and I think I learned it through the kids, through my kids, but not even just through them, but just teaching the guys that I teach. It's like I got some guys that I'm just like, dude, are you like, you come to work with tools to get your job done, and you came and asked me, do I have it, as if I'm doing your job. And it's like, if you don't have it, I can't help you. And it's not that I'm being mean.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like you helping you. I'm not helping you if I don't tell you get your stuff.
Yeah.
If I do it, I might as well do it then. I'm prepared. Why aren't you? You might as well go to a job where you can do it, because right now you're messing up.
Yeah.
Like so I understand where you coming from with that, because a lot of times, if we did take more accountability within ourselves, a lot of us would be a lot further. I used to not realize I didn't even take accountability. I didn't take accountability. Where's your money going? It's like, where's my money going? It's like, about that.
Right.
About that. But now I understand that I wasn't doing it as well as I should, but I didn't realize that at the time. So now it's like when I do something, even if I mess up or if I say something wrong and somebody say, man, that hurt. And it's like, I don't always care that I hurt your feelings. But if it's something that resonates, that's like, dang, you could have did that a little better, then I will go back and apologize, because it's not like I didn't intentionally do it. But if I did intentionally do it, it wasn't to rile up your feelings. It was more to help you in a different way. But a lot of times, if I say it in a way that you feel like I should say it, it probably ain't gonna help.
Right.
So we only have a couple more questions left, and I'm gonna ask you, do you get disrespected often?
Not often. Not directly like I'm out to get Miss G, like today is her day. No. I feel like probably the highest level of disrespect I get from my students is I give them a directive of something I want them to do, and they disregard my directive to keep on with what they're feeling at the moment. So like, let's say two kids are going across the room saying things back and forth to each other. It might start off playful, and then it's not playful no more, because now somebody like has really gotten invested. And my way of like trying to make sure that I'm not losing instructional time for something like that, but also like deading the issue. Like if I say, I need you to stop, or like you go sit over here and you go sit over here and don't look in each other's directions, don't talk to each other. Like, I need you to do that because you're a high schooler. And like, you should be able to do the things I said the first time. You cannot try to get the last word every single time. But there are times where it's like, they don't take in that directive and they'll keep going. And now my patience is like one and done. It's like you get one redirection from me. And after that, then I'm gonna match your energy. And I be having to reel it in sometimes.
Get a little crazy, huh?
I'm like, So then, I do have to like pull them out into the hallway, because I do understand like when you're a teen, I don't know, especially when it's in a situation where you have the attention of the class. And when
you're the stupid person.
Yeah, you're
the cool person. You're the dumb, the class clown.
Like, and what you're doing is because you have the class's attention. So it's like you want to get more attention from me so that
you can keep fueling the fire.
Yeah, but like I gotta remove you from the class. Like, so I'll send them out into the hallway, because then it's lacking. Like, they're not getting the attention that they wanted. Still getting attention from me, and it does take time away from instruction. But I also have to try to die down that issue, you know, as quickly as I can by stepping out. And then like we just have the real conversations out there in the hallway. Like, listen, you get consequence A, B, or C. Here's what it is. And partially it's because I felt disrespected when I told you to do something and you didn't do it. So which one we doing? We doing parent call? Are we doing like detention because it's the second time plus the parent call? Or like, are y'all gonna write me this essay plus the parent call? Like, which one y'all want? I realize y'all got jobs, y'all got practice, y'all got this or that. Like, you might not be able to make the detention, but that hour you would have spent in there, you gonna spend it doing something else.
So you make sure they accountable again.
Yeah, like, so but I wouldn't say that there's any kid that's ever like came up to me like with a beef towards me.
Okay.
It's more so just like, you know, when adults say something, we just want you to do what we say within reason. You know what I mean? It's
Within
not like
reason.
It's not like we're like, as long as we are not in a power struggle with each other and just trying to assert dominance, and you clock that and you realize they're trying to one up me and I'm not gonna let it happen. Like, there are moments where kids have those experiences with adults, but if it's other times where we're asking you a very rational thing to do and you just don't want to do it,
it's different now. Yeah, it's
like,
different.
it's like, I've asked you to chill out. What's not chilling out? Or like, you know, kids that's like, the worst is turning in late work. It's like, well, Miss G, can you grade it like by the end of the day? Because, you know, I got to get my grade up for this or that. And I'm like, just start this paper at 3 weeks late. I feel like by your logic, I got 3 weeks to grade it.
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean? I got kids like in the middle of taking the test, and they're like, so when you gonna have that grade in? You're still taking it. I don't know.
Finish. Just get done first. Like, get done.
So, yeah. But that concept of, I got to it in my time now. Well, but Miss G, that's your job. You're supposed to, like, you know, grade them and update them. Yeah, it was my job 3 weeks ago when I assigned it with the deadline, and then I put them in, right? I put them in on time, and you got that 0 on it because it wasn't in the stack. Like, yes, it is my job to grade your late work. It's not my job to get to it at your beck and call. And sometimes they don't understand that. But, like, these are the consequences. Like, you might have to take that L for the weekend and not go to the movies. You might have to just take it. Like,
my guys, timesheets. Hey, man, they want to get paid. You know, timesheets need to be in by Monday, by 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday or Wednesday, and they like, oh, I didn't turn my timesheet in. Okay.
yeah.
You get paid next week.
Right.
You get what you get. If you didn't, you are a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
You want to be paid. You only here to get paid.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me the only way you get paid is what you gonna miss, and then you upset because you missed it? Get your ass to work. So that's how I feel. But I do want to go back one more time to accountability. Do you feel that enough women take accountability for their actions?
Just in like everyday life? What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to ask a question that's very direct. Do you think that enough women take accountability? And I'm going to say no. Because you brought accountability up quite a bit. And I want to know from a woman's perspective, how does it feel to take accountability? Because it seems like those are the things that women struggle with the most, is being accountable or accepting that they're wrong. Men do it too. Don't get me wrong. We all do it.
Yeah.
Women seem to have it bad to the point where it's never the woman that's having the issue. Women don't take much accountability. So I need you to talk to the women directly.
So, first off, I feel like how people interpret certain situations is just like different. Like, men might approach a topic or a certain like action or situation completely different from how a woman would approach it. And so because the way that our brain processes the information and how we get to what we think is a reasonable outcome, because they don't align, we have a hard time. I won't say we have a hard time taking accountability. Like, I have a hard time wrapping my head around why you can't see it the way I see it. The same way you might have a hard time wrapping your head around why I can't see it the way you see it. So like, you might want me to take accountability for a certain thing, and you feel like I'm only doing it this way as a woman, but I'm like, the way I approach that is just different from like how you see it. So I don't feel the need to take accountability because like I don't feel like my take on it was wrong. For instance, we talked about taking out the trash earlier. If I'm a person who grew up seeing like both men and women take out the trash, and I decide I want to take out the trash, and you might be angry that I took out the trash, I will not take accountability and like why I'm wrong in that situation, because it's what's ingrained in me. Like, everybody is only a culmination of the experiences that they've had or the influences that they've taken in. So they move through the world the way they move because of what they've been influenced by. So I don't want to say like women have a harder time taking accountability than men, because I can make the argument that like it's a lot of people around here that I'm like, you got a lot of things to take accountability for.
And that's why I said men and women, but I see it more from a woman. Like, women are always only blaming. I see more women pointing the finger, doing this, than saying, I had a bigger responsibility. I mean, I had a bigger part playing in this than, yeah, you did do some stuff, but I didn't help make it better.
So let me ask you this. In those situations where you feel like women are not taking more accountability, do we ever lose the plot in the conversation as to what they're supposed to be taking accountability on?
It depends. It depends on which woman is talking or who I'm talking to. A lot of times women will deflect and act as if they don't understand and keep twisting it back to be like, oh, it's on you. Or it's, you did this. If it wasn't for you, or this, instead of just realizing you just are not doing well. You can be doing better. You understand what accountability I'm talking about. It's just being, pretty much being just saying, if you know you did something, or you know you're being spiteful, doing things that you know is not, you going against what I'm saying just because you got a problem. And then you don't say, hey, my bad. Or you just keep going.
That's might be where we see it different, because my experience has been that's what the males around me do, because my personality.
So you hung with more males?
Well, no, not really. I feel like my friend group is pretty like even, but I feel like in those situations where it's like, in the situations where you know that there's something that needs to be taken accountability for, and I said this earlier, everybody has their perspective on what's going on, and everybody probably has something to apologize about. What I struggle with is that often when there's conversations with males where a woman will take accountability for whatever the original thing was, the male then has to tack in something that happened completely unrelated. This is just my time to get it out. Let me have you take accountability for 8 things. And if the woman responds,
that's how I usually get. That's like, it's the opposite way for me.
So, but that our experiences are different.
Yeah, it's the opposite way for me.
I will feel like I want to focus on the point of this conversation. I don't want you to pull in things from 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 2 years ago. Like, I don't want you to pull in, well, you always be, you know, you do this, or like you do that, or like, that's not the plot. Like, that's not the conversation. So like, it's almost like that, like,
some of it is just a referral. Like, we're referring to things that you're continuing the behavior to.
I feel like sometimes men don't like to give women credit of like when a behavior has changed. So for instance, let's say, I don't know, something random. I don't know, put the spoon by the sink instead of in the sink, right? There's always that conversation of like, why don't you just put it in the sink? Like, rinse it and like set it there, right? Let's say I put the spoon by the sink, and you tell me you don't like that, right? You've told me 6 times you don't like that. And then I start making an effort to not put the spoon in the sink. You don't notice that I am putting the spoon in the sink 6 times, right? Because to you, it's like, oh, that's where it's supposed to be. So you don't take note of it. And then on time 7, I put the spoon back on the edge of the sink because it's my nature, it's ingrained, and I don't catch it that, oh, I needed to put it in the sink. mind you, I did it right 6 times. I took in what you asked me to do, but that 7th time you took note of it because it's opposite of what you like. And then it's, what did I tell you about that? Like, you won't never fix what I asked you to fix. I just fixed it 6 times. But because subconsciously people only focus on the things that bother them, it's a hard time giving credit to things that align with what they want.
I like that.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
That's good. I like that you said that, because really everything is dictated. It's all built around what somebody is wanting.
Right.
So I like the way you put that. That's real. It's all tailored around if they're upset at that issue.
Yeah.
That's just, they're upset at the issue.
Right.
So they can't see anything past that.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole women don't take accountability.
I would definitely say
like,
women, it's on from me what I see. But like I say, I see men too that don't do it, and I see men, but when I see it more with women. Men do a lot of dumb stuff too. Trust me, stupid.
Yeah. Definitely,
and I see it day to day, day after day. Women just be on some other. That's just me, but that's why the discussion is here, and that's why I say let's just talk about it, But the way you put it, I like that too, because it's really all tailored it's tailored to perspective. But a lot of times we get so angry and upset with one thing that we don't go past that, so then we stay in that same rotation. Yeah. So then on my last question for you, if you were to give some advice to the black teachers that's coming up, what would you tell them?
I would say, like, challenge yourself to be your full self within the workplace. Like, there is a learning curve, but I feel like my learning curve took a little too long. Like, I wish I had, like, been more of my true self. Like, earlier on into my career, I feel like I probably could have had a larger impact for some of my students in those early years. But like, when you're a new teacher, like, you don't know nothing. You know how to write a lesson plan,
and that's it.
You know,
the
like,
basics, huh?
What it is you need to teach. But like, some of the things, come with experience, like classroom management. It ain't nothing you can teach me in a college classroom about classroom management until I get thrown in that mug, and then I'm like, theory says I should do this.
There you go with that planning. Blew out the water.
But like, the moment's really here, and you know what? I don't think Susie that they put in that exemplar in the book is real. I don't think it's gonna happen that way.
This ain't even playing out that way.
Like, I would say, I don't know. But also, I feel like for black teachers coming into the workforce, like, yes, fight to bring in your black experiences into the education field so that you can create an environment that is open and accepting to all students, like, not just your black students. Do you know what I mean?
Yep,
like, there are so many other races that also need a teacher who makes them feel accepted and makes them feel like that's a safe space. So while you are doing it, because you are a minority teacher who understands what it's like to be in an environment where you are the minority, like, do it for all the kids, if that makes sense.
Just do it big for everybody.
Yeah.
Just make the best impact that you can.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, it was a good talk. It was a good chat.
Yeah.
I think it was cool. Thank you for coming with me. We shot some of this stuff. It looked like I was reading off of this, but I was just making stuff up as we went. So there were some things that we talked on topic, but
yeah, this is fun. I
appreciate you coming by, sliding in, and let's doing this. I think this was good, and I think you got a lot of information that people will want to hear, and people that, like you said, you just gave a message to people that's coming up. So somebody's going to need to hear it. So you're going to inspire somebody else as well.
Yeah.
So I would just say on here, man, keep being the inspiration that you are, wearing your J's, showing people that it's okay to wear J's to school. It's okay to wear the natural hair. It's okay to really be your authentic self. Yeah. And move through life.
Yeah, I say that
with accountability.
20-inch wig on, but
well, so are you saying that's not real? So you're not being your authentic self?
I mean, hair is such a thing for Black women. Like, it is how we express ourselves. So when I feel like I want to express myself with my natural hair, with my pineapple puffs, or, with my twist outs and whatnot, I do that. When I feel like I want a lace front wig, I do that. Like,
so do you ever take it off in front of your students?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Why not?
Not in front of these high schoolers.
I thought you wanted to be authentic in front of them.
I'm not getting cooked in front of these high schoolers.
They
I'm
gonna
not
cook
going
and
to
eat
do
you,
it.
huh?
Listen, they can watch a TikTok reel of somebody else taking their wig off. It's all the same.
So they won't see you doing it.
No, they're not going to see me doing it.
Okay.
The most I've ever done is I had my hair in a twist out one time, and I told a kid this is not my natural curl pattern, because like a twist out defines it into whatever twist type you did. And the kid couldn't understand what I was talking about because, they're not a minority kid. So like they don't quite get it. And so I like actually put water in my hair so that they could see like the shrinkage, and like this side and this side don't look the same. Mm-mm. But I also am like, as a teacher, I'm like, it's okay for me to do that. Like, I don't feel ashamed for me to now be walking around with this patch of my head, like not matching the rest, because like I'll just twist it back out at home. But I gave a kid an experience of like, I didn't know hair could do that. Or like, I think it's cool that my teacher is just comfortable enough to do that. Like, I don't know.
And make them want to do just to be who they are.
Yeah.
To see people be people.
Yeah.
That's what my customers look for. They don't look for me to be a robot. They look for me to be a person to people.
Yeah.
And that's what people enjoy, is people being people.
Yeah.
Not all of this uptight. And it's like, chill, bro.
Yeah.
Chill. Just be a person to people, and people generally accept you a lot more. Mm-hmm. Some people ain't going to accept you just because they not.
Yeah.
But those people,
yeah.
You know how that go.
Yeah.
I ain't going to even say what I'm going to say, but you know them. Start middle finger, That's what you do to those people. But I don't want YouTube to get me yet, so. Miss Griffin, It was great.
Thanks.
And I hope to do this with you again.
Yeah.
I think this was fun. It was cool. It was informative. And it was something else to do.
Yeah.
It was entertainment.
Yeah.
I think you shed light.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I'm out.